wrestling show. And I have just been blessed with the grace, and I want to present to some and introduce to others. Miss Audri Scott Williams, because of whom I had this show. So I would like to give proper honor and proper introduction, and not let her just pop in as a random voice. So she got to know she got to wait. Now, this is Miss Audri Scott Williams, activist, mother, grandmother, politician, activist again, who has graced us with her presence. And I want to bring her in on this conversation and let her add her own spin on it. Miss Williams.
All right. Well, you know, I'm glad you all opened up with a tribute to my brother Sekou. Sekou was a very multifaceted individual from his...
Good.
Okay. From his various roles that he played in terms of being a jailhouse lawyer, to being a part of the Black Liberation Army, and all the different ways, every way that he showed up in life. At the bottom line, I think the intersecting piece of all of that was his passion for his people, his passion for justice, and his passion to represent those who fell on the sort of the outside of the American system at that time. And what was interesting about Sekou was before any of our speakers that we've come to know about, like Dr. Martin Luther King and others, before they spoke, he was often a part of the group that went down ahead of time to make sure that they secured the space, secured the environment, to protect them from, as Antoine spoke about, the FBI infiltration, COINTELPRO, and so many other factions that were out to kill and destroy so many of the young people. And one of the things that I think people need to realize, these were teenagers.
Yes,
I think at the time Sekou got involved, he was like 19 years old. And so it's important to remember how it was the young people who said enough is enough. And if somebody has to stand the ground and make sure our leaders can come in and do what they do, then here we are. And he was certainly that. And a lot of times we forget, even Dr. Martin Luther King, he was only 34 years old when he passed, wasn't it? About 34? So these were young people that were leading a movement that was to change, literally to change America in so many ways. Now we're still working those struggles. We're still trying to bring about equality and justice for all people, whether it's economic justice, social justice, criminal justice, you name it. But Sekou was right there that was his intersecting point to make sure the path was made for justice to come about. That's why he chose to be a jailhouse lawyer. And he didn't just it wasn't an easy choice. He doesn't wake up in one day in prison and say, oh, I'm going to be a lawyer. He had to actually...
Just like you said, you know, what happens, one thing I love about Sekou, and I always joke about it, is he escaped 4 times. You know, and again, you can't keep us down. And he is the embodiment of that. Before you came in, I was speaking about how you toured the country together with your group, Red Flame for Freedom, and Sekou went along with you and your group. And even after 47 years and escape attempts and successful escapes and recaptures, he never stopped fighting. I mean, just the embodiment of never give up, of never, because 47 years, I'm done, guys. I gave my life to the cause. I'm in so much awe of a man that would give that much of his life and still continue and know he's about to die and still continue to fight until his dying day and be able to sit at his feet and be tutored and taught about the things that came before me. It was, you know, and I know you toured the country with him, so you spent lots of personal time with him. I just want you to share some of your experience with him, as well as your experiences as far as fighting for our community, because this is what we're here for.
let me go back to what I didn't finish what I was saying, because I think this is important for people to hear. And these are stories, the biggest thing, the biggest gift of being with Sekou 24/7 for almost, 13 months or no, 6 or 7 months. One of the things that he said, to be a jailhouse lawyer, he first had to petition the state of Alabama to allow law books to be brought into the prison. Now hear this. He didn't know he was going to become a jailhouse lawyer, but he felt he needed to understand the law. So his first strong struggle was to get a law library in the prison. And once he got that library established, he had to read and read, and anybody who knows Sekou knows that he read, and he would take these big law books and he would go through them without any formal training, and then challenge the state of Alabama. Actually did lawsuits against the state of Alabama, and won cases here that affected the conditions in the prisons here in Alabama. And I wanted to just say that, Herschel, because if you're going to be a true, on the front line of being someone who's fighting for liberation, you got to know what you're fighting for. Right. It's not just about reacting to something that's not right, so you get out there and react. You've got to know. He's spent time to know the law, to understand how the legal system works, so that he not only trained himself and become a jailhouse lawyer, he won cases against the state, and then he had a whole network of young people that he trained all across the state of Alabama, and even the country in prisons to do the same thing. So I'm just saying that when we talk about being on the front line, when we talk about being an activist, you've got to know the law. You've got to know what policies are. You've got to know how to go after making change. And so one part of it is holding your ground, being able to do, whatever is necessary to do that. The other part of that is you got to back yourself up with knowledge. And so I just wanted to say that part, because Sekou will tell you, all the books that I talk about when I'm on my show, right, is the same thing Sekou will talk about. The books that people need to read to understand not only who they are, but how the system works, and how do we get in and challenge the system to get the outcomes that we want. So that was the greatest gift for me with Sekou, and also to witness how when he met the people who really petitioned the state to get him released, because he told me, he said when he was locked up, the judge told him he would never see the light of day. And so to get him released after 47 years didn't just happen overnight. It took years of letter writing, of petitions and so forth. So when he went on the Red Flame for Freedom walk, we specifically coordinated, thanks to Jennifer and others, an opportunity for him to meet the people who had worked so hard to get him out of prison. And when he would walk into a room, it was like, the President of the United States walked into the room, and people would literally just sit at his feet, whatever it took, and honored him in so many ways. And I really think Sekou knew he was dying. He knew he was coming to the end. But this journey was so important to him, because he got to get the love and the appreciation and that face-to-face opportunity to meet the people who made such a difference in his life.
All right. Now, we're paying honor and homage to why we are here today, because he brought us together. Now, what I want to do, I'm going to take a little music break, and then we're going to come back and talk to you about you and your vision and the projects that you're working on as an activist in our community. So we're going to take this little music interlude, and we're going to come back with Miss Audri Scott Williams.